So since the Browns came back in 1999, there have been a lot of downs, even more downs, some ups, and then more downs. So what I wanted to do was rank and categorize all that. So this is my every Brown season since 1999 tier list. All right, so we're going to start with 1999 here, and that's the first season that the Browns came back. They were an expansion team. They got stomped out on Monday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they got embarrassed. Yes, this team at one point, I believe, played Spurgeon Wynn at quarterback. But the Browns were back. And if the Browns weren't back, this channel doesn't exist. I'm not here talking to y'all. So just because of that mere fact alone, this is a pretty neutral C-tier season because the Browns came back. And you know what? A bad Brown season is miles better than a no Brown season. So I'll take that over everything just because that's the season they came back. 2000 was dirt. They were bad. They didn't do anything. And it wasn't the first season they came back, so that's going to be a D season. Now, 2001 would be interesting. That'd be the first year of the Butch Davis experience. Also would be the season that the Browns went 7-9, and Bottlegate happened. Now, Bottlegate is a significant part of Cleveland Browns history, also almost coming in 500. Does kind of put this in upper tier category because it is a memorable season. So I'm going to put this right up there with 1999 as a C-tier season. Now, 2002 is special in the hearts of a lot of Browns fans, even though it does come with Dennis Northcutt dropping a ball to lose the Browns a playoff game. But you heard me right. Playoff game. 2002, the Browns made the playoffs under Butch Davis. They went 9-7. And the run call made by Jim Donovan put the Browns in the playoffs. And how can that not be S tier? People still talk about Run William Run till this day. Every time Nick Chubb breaks off a run, we talk about Run William Run, even though Nick Chubb in his worst season is much better than William Green ever wished he could be in the NFL. But that's how much love and importance is in that Run William Run call. It's an iconic thing. Anybody who is a Browns fan for any amount of years knows about Run William Run, loves Run William Run, and when the Browns disappoint them, they go on YouTube and they click Run William Run, they feel a little bit better. So Run William Run, playoffs, gets you an S tier. Dennis Northcutt almost dropped it a whole tier like he dropped that football A. Now, the next year is 2003, and 2003 was a massive disappointment. The Browns went 5-11 and did not make the playoffs, obviously. So that's going to be D tier. That's going to be D tier. 2004 was the last time I believe the Browns won the home opening first game. They won the home opener against New Orleans, I believe, in 2013, but that was the second game of the year. This was the last time that the Browns won the first game of the year, but they also went 4-12. Now, they won that game against Baltimore, and that's going to keep it out of F tier because it wasn't a terrible season to watch like some of the seasons coming up here, but again, not great at all. And now we're going to jump into the Romeo Crennel era. This era is special to me because this is when I was about 10 years old and I really got into my Browns hardcore fandom. I started learning every player on the team. Like, this is when I really got into it, was the Romeo Crennel era. I believe this was the year that Reuben Drones ran for 1,000 yards. I think it was vaguely related to one of my cousins. Also, this was the year of those hilarious like Romeo Crennel press conferences. And I think somebody made like a parody Coors Light commercial. If you've been watching the NFL since you were 10 years old like me, you would remember those commercials where like they'll have the Coors Light in the press conferences and they made a funny little cut of Romeo Crennel in there. But let's not mince words. They were 6-10. Wasn't a terrible season. It wasn't a terrible season. This team was not actually embarrassing. I believe they went on a long streak of just like winning and then losing and then winning and then losing, like back to back. And you actually did have hope for what a Romeo Crennel Browns would look like in the future. And in 2006, well, they went 4-12 in 2006. I believe this was the Charlie Fry experiment year. And the Charlie Fry experiment, local guy, didn't work out. That is a D tier season. But then we get to one of my favorite Brown seasons of all time, 2007. Here's how much I love the 2007 Browns season. Every time in the 4-year rotation we play the NFC West, I'm like, oh, this could be our year. Or even in 2017, the 10-year anniversary of 2007, I felt like that could be our year. But this 2017 was so ridiculously fun to watch. You had Derek Anderson airing the ball out to Braylon Edwards, who was making spectacular catches. You also had Jamal Lewis just tearing up offenses. They had that spectacular game against the Ravens where Phil Dawson's field goal bounced on the gooseneck and then popped out, and then they had overtime and the Browns won that game. It was a very cathartic season for a lot of Browns fans who watched their offenses just look terrible for so many years. So I'm going to put that in S tier, baby. Yes. I love 2007. It was such a fun season, and I think without the 2007 season, I'm quite honestly not the hardcore Browns fan that I am today. So thank you for that 2007 Browns season, Romeo Crennel. And I always look fondly on Romeo Crennel for that. But the reason he got fired was 2008. In 2008, woo, that was F tier. Now, it's F tier for multiple reasons. Not because it's the worst Browns team to ever exist. It's not that. Because this time the embarrassment was televised on national freaking TV. And of course, you know, it's just like last year where the Browns had all this hype coming into the season, all these expectations, national TV games, and they just pooped in front of everybody. Just embarrassing. Very hard to watch, quite honestly, at times. They went between Derek Anderson and Brady Quinn. Both weren't really the answer. It was just a hard season to watch, quite honestly. All right, then you have 2009. All right, I don't know if I'm one of a few Browns fans who have this opinion, but I've heard it other places. The Eric Mangini Browns were just some of the roughest watches in my time watching the Browns. Like, I think they're one of the worst teams to watch. They might not be one of the worst teams. I don't think they're worse than the 2016 Browns team, but the 2009 Browns, they were just boring to watch. They couldn't move the ball. I mean, I remember getting excited for like a few first downs, let alone they put a drive together. They were just bad. Eric Mangini was just bad. That's an F-tier season. 2010 is saved from being an F-tier season because I believe that was the upset of the Patriots that year. Also, that was the year Peyton Hillis went crazy. So actually, I'm going to upgrade that to C-tier season. Some good things happened there, and you weren't watching that dreadful offense from 2009 because Peyton Hillis was actually doing things from the running back position. But again, Eric Mangini's time is a slept-on, terrible time for Browns fans. People complain about Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson at least moved the ball a few times a game. Eric Mangini did nothing, and he was the man genius. So, you know, whatever that meant. 2011 was Pat Shurmur's first year. And like the Browns weren't terrible they were terrible. They were 4-12 that year, but they weren't like historically bad. But I just remember they were just so bland and bad to watch that year that it was just hard for me to finish the season. It's when I questioned this whole being a sports fan thing. So I'm just personally going to rank that F. I don't think a lot of people are going to do that because there's a lot of love for Colt McCoy, and I do believe he played a lot this year in 2011. So I get people might not dislike this season as much as I did. I just remember watching the Browns and thinking they had no chance to even get 500 and that it was almost pointless to continue watching. So I remember I tuned out at this season. I've never done that for a Browns season before. Even when they went 0-16, I never tuned out. 2011, I did tune out. I had enough at some point. 2012. Fun season 2012 wasn't. This was the year that Brandon Weeden got trampled over the American flag. We drafted Trent Richardson, and the Browns went 5-11, which is a one-game improvement. Trent Richardson did have an exciting rookie year. It was fun to watch from that standpoint, watching what we thought was going to be the next great Cleveland running back developed. Brandon Weeden, on the other hand, well, that's a whole video. But we're just going to go D tier for 2012. 2013 is a beautiful, fun mess of a season. That's the year that Jason Campbell, Brian Hoyer, and Brandon Weeden all took snaps at quarterback. I think Brian Hoyer actually got injured early on after starting off pretty good against Minnesota. And this is also the year that Josh Gordon went crazy. I think he had over 1,600 yards in like 14 games, which is almost more yards than Randy Moss had in 2007 with the Patriots. In 14 games. I remember he had that great play against Aqib Talib and the Patriots. He also had that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was the year that he was the first wide receiver ever to get 200-yard back-to-back games against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some truly amazing stuff was happening here from an individual standpoint when it comes to Josh Gordon. And quite frankly, he saved this season. The quarterback situation was terrible. The team wasn't good. The defense was bad. But Josh Gordon, he was fun to watch. So, you know what? B tier. I'm going to put that in B tier. This is going to be B tier. 2013 is going to be the first B tier year. It's not a good team, but I'm just saying it was a fun to watch team. And you know what? If my team's going to stink, at least make it something I'm compelled to watch every week. And you know what? The 2013 Browns were compelling to watch every week. Now, 2014 is something that should have been A tier, almost S tier, because this team was 7-4 at the top of the division in November. But then Johnny Manziel happened. Yeah, this is the year they drafted Justin Gilbert and Johnny Manziel. At the start of 2014, like this felt like it was going to be the Browns' year. There was like the whole Browns good karma movement in Cleveland. And I made like a trailer for that. It's one of the first videos that you'll see on this channel. Back in 2014, I made a trailer for that Browns team. And they started off good. It felt good. The movie Draft Day had just came out. And you know what? We felt good. We felt like we had Brian Drew / Brian Hoyer, that this Browns team was going to do something and be respectable. We blew out the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then Alex Mack got hurt. And then Johnny Manziel started. And then everything went to poop. Josh Gordon also came back randomly in the middle of the season after 12 games. And he wasn't a help either. So while this season had its moments of greatness, the game against Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football, where Deion Sanders is saying, pay that man to Brian Hoyer, sadly, it sits with 2013 in B tier. It's a better season than 2013. It was a more fun to watch season than 2013, but the pain of the end of the season brought this down from A tier to B tier. It was awful at the end of it. It was beautiful at the start. I mean, this is the same year they made that ridiculous road comeback against the Tennessee Titans. We had Kyle Shanahan as offensive coordinator. This season should have been so much better than it was, but you know, we know what happened at the end of it. Now we go to 2015. This is the year they put on those new jerseys and they play it like garbage to go along with it. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to go straight F tier here. This is going to be F tier 2015. 2016, they signed RG3 as the solution to all the Browns' problems and didn't draft Carson Wentz. And then they went 1-15. Now that one game they won was really fun to watch. I was there live. But it was ultimately a F-tier season. I think the 2016 Browns that went 1-15 were much worse than the 2017 Browns that went 0-16. But the 2017 Browns went 0-16, and when you go, that's an F-tier season. It can't be anything other than F-tier season. I bet there are Browns fans who still ain't watching because the Browns went 0-16 in 2017. And it stinks that the year that they were so terrible, right? 2016-17, every other team in Cleveland was good. The Indians were contenders. They went to the World Series in 2016. The Cavs won the World Championship in 2016 and then went back to compete for it again in 2017. And then you got the Browns, just the worst team in the NFL in that exact same time period. But then 2018 comes along, and 2018 wasn't a over 500 year. They went 7-8-1, but it was one of the funnest years in Cleveland Browns memory. Now, it's not up there with 2002 and 2007 because they accomplished things in 2002 and 2007, making the playoffs in double-digit wins, but it's going to be the first A-tier season because it's the introduction of Baker Mayfield. And let's not lie to ourselves. That 8-game stretch where they went 5-3 to end the season and Baker Mayfield looked like the next big thing in sports. Even in 2002 and 2007, the Browns have never made this city feel like they did in that stretch in 2018. And that's why that is ultimately a A-tier season. A lot of memorable things happened that year. Now, 2019 wasn't hard to watch for the same reasons a lot of other Brown seasons were hard to watch. 2009, they couldn't buy a first down, and in 2016 and 17, they didn't have an NFL team almost. So, yeah, 2019, if you rank it in F tier, it's kind of hard to justify it because it wasn't as bad on paper but I can get why people feel it should be a F tier season because it was a frustrating season. It was the most frustrating season that Browns fans have ever had, quite frankly, because if the end of 2018 was the most fun Browns fans have had, the start of 2019 especially might have been the most frustrating. And for that reason alone, I do believe 2019 belongs in F tier. You had Freddie Kitchens, who got fired after one season. You had all the dysfunction going on between John Dorsey and Paul DePodesta and Jimmy Haslam. It was just a mess of a year that just, quite frankly, didn't need to be a mess and didn't really deserve to be a mess. A lot of fans got pumped up. I got season tickets that year, and by the end of that season, it went from excitement for the Tennessee game, the first game of the year, to literally just dreading going down to the stadium at the end of the year in a way that I have never felt like that before about the Browns. So yeah, it's just that roller coaster of emotions. It felt like it was our year, and it was another 6-10 season. But that's how I would rank every single Brown season since 1999. Let me know how you would rank them in the comment section below. Let me know where you think I went wrong or right. Do you have a season in here that you think should be deserving of a higher or lower tier? Let me know in the comment section below. But again, guys, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. And again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.